What's up, A-Team Fantasy Nation? I'm your host, Josh Jenkins, and tonight's video, we are going to reveal our Week 4 wide receiver matchups. But before I start the show, I'd like to welcome my good friend and co-host, Zach Roberts, back to the show. Welcome back, Zach.
Hey, thanks for having me, Josh. What's up, A-Team Fantasy Nation? How we doing? I hope everybody's doing good in their leagues. Hope our advice is helping. I'm ready to get to this wide receiver list, man. Let's try to get you guys some points, man. Let's get some wins this week.
All right, let's do it. First off, our very first number one recommended wide receiver for Week 4 will be Mike Williams. He's going up against Las Vegas Raiders. They're the 16th ranked defense. Williams was 7 of 9 for $122 and 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 red zone targets. I look for another big game from him this weekend. What do you think, Zach?
Well, yeah, I definitely agree, man. I had to watch that game, watch him rip my Chiefs apart. He's very fast for how big he is. And with Keenan Allen drawing double teams, it's hard to shut this guy down. And this is a really good matchup. Raiders like to throw the ball a lot. Should be a high-scoring game, which will give Herbert and Williams opportunities to get the ball down the field. He's such a big red zone target, man. He's hard to deal with. So my Chiefs had a tough time with him. I look for him to put up similar numbers, if not more, because the Raiders, like to throw the ball and stay in the game. So this ought to be some good numbers for some fantasy people this week. Go ahead and start Mike Williams for sure. But before we get to number 2, we didn't forget about Adams, Diggs, Metcalf, and Hill. Those guys every week, you need to go ahead and start those guys. There'll probably be other guys like that they continue to perform that will get put up at the top of that list. But right now, Adams, Diggs, Metcalf, and Hill, no matter the matchup, start them every week. But let's get to number 2 because I know he's your boy. Let's go.
All right, coming in at number 2, straight out of Carolina, is DJ Moore. He's going up against Dallas in the 29th ranked defense. He was 8 of 12 for $126. He didn't have any touchdowns this weekend, but I look for similar numbers this weekend against Dallas as he did last weekend. What's your thoughts, Zach?
Well, yeah, for sure. So that Dallas team, man, again, it's kind of like going against Green Bay or whatever. They're going to be a high-scoring game. Darnold's going to throw the ball. DJ Moore will get a lot of targets because you can't double team, everybody. So with that said, man, with the 126 yards, I look for him that he's installed in the offense pretty well. I look for him to probably have the similar numbers and definitely get a touchdown, maybe 2. If you have him starting this week, people, I also think Cooper Cup could have been here at number 2. He's versus Arizona, so it's a little bit tougher defense at 22. He went 9 for 12 for 96 yards and had 2 touchdowns. I think he and Stafford have probably one of the best chemistries right now in all of football. And that LA offense is pretty high powered. So is Arizona. There's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. And I believe that Cooper Kupp will be one of the guys that comes out with some of the most amount of points. So he's easily Moore and Kupp could easily be flip-flop. So, pick your poison on that. But if you have them, start them. They're going to give you points.
Yeah, I totally agree. With the emergence, well, I don't know if you would say emergence of Cooper Kupp, but I think this year he has really drew the attention of Matt Stafford. Last year, he'd have a good game, then he wouldn't the next. They also have Robert Woods, but I think he's been a little bit overshadowed by Kupp. And now you got the emergence of Deshaun Jackson in that offense. They're lethal. I think they may be Super Bowl contenders.
think so too. And you also want to throw in, I know that he's kind of under the radar, but Sony Michel, he was on our waiver wire video. He's proven that over there he works in Sean McVay's offense. There in New England, he was kind of muddled with a bunch of other guys, so he didn't get as many reps. But he's proven to McVay that he's reliable, and that in McVay's offense, when you do that, like Cooper Cup and some of these other guys, he puts packages in installed for him. So I look for him to have a big game as well. Even Higbee, the tight end, he had a good game last week. It just shows that Stafford, kind of like Mahomes, he's seeing the whole field. He's finding who's open. And if you're open, he's going to get you the ball. But the chemistry between him and Cup is second to none. I mean, it might be right there with Kelsey and Mahomes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's jump to number 4. I've got Jamar Chase from Cincinnati. They're going to take on Jacksonville, 21st ranked defense. Chase was 4 of 5 for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns. The kid's a stud. He's a rookie. He has made his presence known on that team, and all the other teams know who he is. What's your thoughts, Zach?
Oh, I mean, I couldn't have said what you just said any better, dude. He is definitely here to stay in the NFL. He's going to be a wideout number 1 from here going out, barring any injuries or something silly. He is a super stud. He's a game breaker. When this kid gets the ball, he could go to the house anytime. I mean, he said 4 for 5 for 65 for 2 touchdowns. And in past weeks, he's caught, sometimes even only 2 targets, but catches them both and at least comes up with a touchdown. So in my eyes, he has the beginning of a superstar. I would imagine if he isn't up for wide receiver of the year rookie, he's really producing phenomenally, even though Burrow has struggled a little bit the first 2 weeks, but they're getting it together there. I think now with Mixon kind of solidifying the running game is taking the pressure off of the backside of the defense for Burrow and allows more openings for him to get the ball down the field. And like I said, with the Mixon thing, he's sucking them forward with the run, and they play action, and then hit this Jamar Chase for big numbers, man. So I look for big things out of this kid for the rest of the season. Start him if you got him. If you got him, man, good luck or good for you, because he's a stud, game breaker.
Yeah, I agree. Number 5 on the list, Marvin Jones, the seasoned veteran, will be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, 24th ranked defense. Last week, he was 6 of 8 for 62. He didn't have a touchdown, but he had 1 red zone target. He's just that seasoned veteran wide receiver on that Jacksonville team. He's that safety net for Lawrence. So, I look for him to have his usual numbers this week.
And he really is a safety net as of up to this week, because he is, like you said, the veteran. He runs the routes the best. He's someone that Lawrence can rely on. That's what's kind of been silly is there's a lot of athletes there that are at the wide receiver position. They got Shark, they got Chenault Jr. So they do got a lot of other guys, but I guess these guys just have the chemistry with Lawrence, and Lawrence seems to know that Jones is going to be where he's supposed to be when he needs to be. So they have that chemistry. And I'm not for sure if many knew this, but Dan Arnold, that used to play for Carolina tight end, which we've had on videos before, we think solid. He got traded to Jacksonville this week. I think Urban Meyer really needed another quote-unquote safety net across the middle for Lawrence. So let's see if that helps their offense. I hope it does, because Lawrence could be special, but right now he's struggling because he's getting pressured a lot, and he's seeing a lot of different blitz packages and stuff. They're running him through the gamut. And so, with that kind of stuff, he is going to grow when he watches these films. And he's shown he has a big arm and can score touchdowns. So Marvin Jones is a good option at this spot. So, you could pick him up and start him at a flex or a wide receiver 3.
All right. Last but not least, I've got a couple honorable mentions I want to throw out to you guys. You might be able to pick up off your waiver wire and stash them, or put them into your starting lineup if you need some help.
Yeah, both these guys is about to mention people were on the waiver wire list. So they had good games last week and they're on the waiver wire. So I'm going to let you get to it, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. First, I want to mention Emmanuel Sanders from the Buffalo Bills. They're going up against Houston, 9th-ranked defense. He was 5 of 6 for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 1 red zone target. So the guy was extremely productive alongside his counterpart, Cole Beasley, last week. I might as well throw him out there too.
I'll tell you why. Go ahead. No, I'll let you finish on the stats. Go ahead.
All right, Cole Beasley was 11 of 13 for 98 yards, 0 touchdowns. But Josh Allen was definitely targeting him in the red zone because he had 5 red zone targets. So what are you going to say, Jay?
Well, what I was going to say is this is what's going down there. So look, they've got 3 stud wideouts. All right, Emmanuel Sanders got added to the team. So you can't double Diggs and Cole and leave Sanders open, or he'll do what he did last week. So defensive coordinators are struggling trying to figure out what to do versus, who are they going to let have a game. Right now, it looks like they're trying to shut Beasley down and Diggs down and allowing Sanders to go off. It could change this week, but with that said, he's on the waiver wire, people. 5 weeks are coming up. He's installed in a high-powered offense. Go pick this guy up. Even if you can't start him this week, heck, you might even be able to figure it out that you have someone that has a bad matchup. You pick him up and you can start him. He's going to get points this week, I promise you. And then I'll let you go ahead and mention the next guy, but I agree with his assessment on this. We talked about this before the show.
Yeah, the next guy, AJ Green. He's another seasoned veteran from the Arizona Cardinals. He was 5 of 6 for $112, 0 touchdowns. They're going up against Los Angeles Rams, 18th ranked defense. He's another big target. They have a lot of weapons in Arizona that Kyler Murray has at his disposal. So, any wideout on that team could have a big game at any given moment.
This is so true. And, I know Hopkins is dealing with a little bit of an injury, but if he does start, the defensive coordinators are like, once he's on the field in the game, they have to respect him, right? Because he made it through protocols and he's going to play. So the problem there when you're a defensive coordinator is similar to what I just said. What do? Do you double team Hopkins and leave AJ Green and Kirk and Edmonds out of the backfield because he's a dual threat? So there's so many options there. And like you said, AJ Green's a veteran. He's a great route runner, and he's a huge body. So I know he didn't get a touchdown last week. However, when they get near or close to the red zone, he's going to get a look. Murray, as small as Murray is, people, this guy's got great vision. I mean, some of the best vision I've seen for someone his size at quarterback. So with that said, man, AJ Green could easily have a similar game and have 2 touchdowns. So go pick these guys up off the waiver wire, stash them so you can play them during the bye week if you need to, or heck, if you have a bad matchup, play these guys and get your points.
Yeah, I totally agree. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, give us a like, hit that subscribe button. We always enjoy reading people's comments. If you have any questions about any matchups, who to start, leave them down below. We'll get to them as quickly as possible. And remember, friends don't let friends auto draft.